I just finished uploading the video for the flaps and aileron, and also the first, for me, upper wing skin installation. This is the left wing. There's been some confusion, if you follow the manual, as to at which point to build the ailerons and the flaps, because basically it tells you to build the wing and then fit the flaps and ailerons onto here. So I went ahead and I built my wing rack. I moved all of my main wings over, built the ailerons and the flaps. You can see them over there sitting. This is the left aileron. And then proceeded to put the wing back on the table and skin it and put the wing gap seals on. And now I'm going to test fit the actual aileron onto here. So I'm going to press the rest of the bronze bushings into this aileron and that flap. But in all honesty, I don't think it really matters. I got hung up on it, and so are a lot of other people, that you don't really need to build the ailerons until after, because if there's any clearance issues with these rivets hitting underneath here, you can literally just kind of bend this in with a ball peen hammer. It says that right in the instructions. And I have the two-piece gap seals, where at one point they had single piece gap seals, from what I can gather anyway, and that might have been an issue early on. And for those that are hung up on stopping the process of wing building to build the ailerons, I honestly don't think it matters. If I find out otherwise, I'll let you know. I got the ailerons and the flaps mounted, and everything looks really good. Really happy with it. There's no issues with any rivets hitting. There's plenty of room. The only thing I have a little bit of an issue with is the way this lines up. This is the cutout, and this matches the wing cutout, and the aileron is offset by about 1/4 of an inch. We have enough space here, even though it's a little bit over this way, so I'm not sure if it's a matter of me pulling, bending the hinges over. They all look straight, so I'm not quite sure there, but other than that, I really like the way it looks, and I hope she flies straight. Also, this page, as simple as you think it would seem. I had trouble wrapping my head around it. I did figure out that all the bolt heads face outboard for everything. The aileron only goes in one way. It's got a thick washer between the two bushings. The flaps do not. They just have the bronze bushings going in. Nuts are facing inbound. And I also just flattened these rib ends. They protruded a little bit on mine. They weren't hitting or anything, or not even close, but I think for aesthetics I'm also going to just take these little protrusions off here with the file. I wasn't sure if this was going to work or not, but when you're done at this point, you're supposed to cut out the notch right here out of the gap seal, but it also weakens it a lot. So this one actually has a lot of meat left over, so I decided to give it a try. Basically just tape this into here, and I'm going to keep this one is for the aileron. I believe it has a little bit less. Or flap. No, it's a flap. And drill 2 holes with the unibit, and then just sliced it out with the my little Dremel tool. I'll file it, and I know it's going to add a little extra weight to the plane, but it might add some rigidity too. The weight thing was a joke. I really like the way that came out. Nice and clean cut. That was this one's for the aileron. It's the one that had a little bit more space on it. Basically just contours the cut that's in the rear spar. As you can tell, I moved my wing with the top skin onto the rack because I want to do the top skin of the right wing now. And as mother is the necessity of invention, my daughter went to Germany with my wife. My other daughter's sleeping, so I needed to bring this up onto there, and I was so afraid of creasing it and should I wait, but I wanted to give this a try and it actually worked great. So I did some 2x2s, just clamped them on there. I didn't actually film it because I would have been so mad if it didn't work. But it allows me to lift the skin basically by myself. So if you're stranded by yourself and you need to move the skins, that's one way of doing it. It works. Alright, here's how my great invention works. Watch me drop the skin. It basically allows you to roll it in a two-dimensional way and carry it by yourself. Now I gotta roll the top skin. So I got the top skin rolled for the right wing that I'm working on now, and I'm about to put that skin onto here. I cut the stringers and I ended up cutting 3.5 inches off of the side that didn't have the hole. Basically, one end has a hole that's 1/4 inch inbound, so I just took the closest hole to that, measured 1/4 inch, chopped it so they're all symmetrical, and here we go. I feel like I'm on the wrong side of the skin. Over there. Definitely a two-person job. But it can be done by one. Time to Clico. Alright, that was me drilling all 103 holes on the leading edge and clecoing half of them, or 52 out of the 103. And I started originally in the middle, roughly in the middle, and then worked my way out because that's what the instructions said to do. And I did every other one. And then once I had them all clecoed, I went back and drilled the other ones. Next up, also these, the original hole in the skin were 40s, number 40s, and I just drilled them out right to a number 30 rather than drilling everything twice. Made sense to me. And next up is the dimpling, but I think I showed that on the liberal wing and don't need to show that again on the conservative wing. Get it? Left wing, right wing. Gotta go to bed. All of that is done, and I took a little bit of a hiatus, actually almost a week, no, over a week off. Today is the 18th, and I think the last entry was on the 7th. And my wife and daughter were traveling, so I kind of had a lot of other stuff to do. But I'm gonna move on, get motivated again, get into the swing of it. So tonight I'm gonna trim the gap seals. Basically just cut the edges off and get them fitted. That's the plan. All right, we get the gap seals on. There's another day, kind of making slower progress these days. And I use this rotary tool. I think I stated that before in the other video. Works really, really well. I put a piece of tape going around the edges and just trim it off and then sand it with a flat block, some file, and gets to be really, really nice. While I have it in here, I actually reach from the inside with a pick tool and I score this because I didn't want to cut this bottom half out. I did it on the other side, and I'm gonna cut it to shape. And if you wonder why the Expando sleeving's on there, it's basically just so I don't scratch the paint of the push-pull configure little thingy. One thing I wanted to point out is I put in all of these brass bushings throughout, you know, everywhere they belong. Double, triple check, make sure I got them right. I think I do, because this is a little confusing, or maybe it's just my demented mind that couldn't comprehend it. But they have this green Loctite, and it's a wicking Loctite. I usually use the blue or the red. I've never actually used this stuff before, so I bought me one on Amazon, and somewhere it said that you can use that to put it on. What I found works really well, I use this at work, are these also available on Amazon, little paintbrush touch-up dabbers. And I just put a little bit, this is old over here, but a little bit on it, squeeze them in, and I use my nice Nipix pliers here that go, when they open and they close, they don't go at an angle, so it's really nice for getting these, you know, straight without marring them or anything. Well worth the 50 bucks or 60 bucks or whatever they cost. Okay, so then back to the Loctite. So I just put a little bit of that on, and I literally, you can very controlled run it around there, and it kind of wicks in, capillary action pulls it in, and 2 dabs on each one. And these ones I did a while ago, and they're in there solid. I actually tried to, this one I could push out prior by putting a drill bit or something on it, and the other ones were pretty tight. I didn't force them obviously, but Loctite keeps them in there. Up until now I always had little wire ties in there so I wouldn't lose them on the ones that were questionable. We'll file that straight. There you have it. So, got that little support in there. Looks cool. And the top of the gap seals are riveted on. I did not do the bottom yet because my arm hurts. I think I have like repetitive motion syndrome, probably because of my work and stuff, but I did want to show you, where are they? The cutouts for the, you know, where the control push pull rods come out. I just kind of matched them to what this top cutout was, rather than exactly matching them to what's in the spar. But it looks nice and even. Looks like RANS stamped it out, and that's what I wanted. So, pretty happy with that. I think I'm gonna call it a night, and tomorrow I'll do these. Maybe I'll do it tonight, I don't know. Look, finally a change of scenery. This is the wing upside down, and I made my little braces there, or whatever you call them, little jigs to sit in. And one thing I did notice is that it doesn't contour 100%, but at least it's consistent on both sides. It kind of sits up a little bit here, but I clamped it on there, like they said, and then it sits flush on there. Put a little bit of a cloth tape on it just so it doesn't scratch the aluminum any more than it has to. Then it's time to put this stringer in, and I kind of started working on it already and forgot the videotape, but what I did is I basically took the PVC tube. I believe this is the first one to roll the rudder or something. Just a tad bit bigger than the strut, and basically just wrapped some sandpaper around it. And well, the rough cut I got with the Dremel and an air grinder, but then just to give it a nice clean radius, I basically just am doing that. And then you can see, so I also used a T-square, like a drywall T-square, to line up. So what happened is the fourth rudder, the fourth rib in seems to line up pretty close as far as the rivet on the stringer. It's off by like literally a 32nd of an inch. And yep, cut the stringer again, whatever the dimension was. So I got those all lined up, and that really got it to sit just perfect on top of this truss. But because I don't want it to vibrate or scratch off the powder coating, cause galvanic corrosion, what have not, is I'm going to actually maybe take another 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch out of it, just to give it some play, or in case I am off a little bit left to right. And that should suffice as far as clearance goes. Don't want any rattles in the wing. Alright, this is, I don't know if you can tell, but probably got, I'd say, at least 1/8 of an inch tolerance around it. So hopefully no chafing of the little stringer on the truss, and no galvanic corrosion once the powder coating wears off. So that came out really nice. Happy with that. Does this happen to anyone else, where you have all day to kind of do nothing and you're procrastinating, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'll just do a cleco or two on the wing, and as soon as you get started, well, at first it's really hard to get started, and then once you get started you can't stop. And they basically riveted the tank supports in, riveted clecoed, and again, these are directional, mine were, so very hard to tell, but this, there's a root side and an outboard side, and if you don't have it the right way, the outer holes will line up, but the inside won't, so be off by like a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch. So I'm not sure if that was just a mistake or coincidence, whatever. Anyway, be careful if that happens to you. Then all of my hinge gaps on that side fit really, really well. So I don't have to, I don't think I have to shave any of them. The one that's a little bit off is the tie down. So I made a note here. I think I'm going to try and lift that up and shave that down. One other thing, I was following the instructions too much. It said to rivet all of the inspection rings in. No, not rivet, cleco. But it did not say to put the doubler in. So I guess I took it in a literal sense and did not put the doubler in, but I'm pretty sure the doubler has to go in underneath. So I'm just going to lift a couple of these rivets up and slide it in. Alright, another update. I was incorrect, and thank goodness I didn't get too ambitious and rivet everything. This doubler does go on the outside, according to one of the other YouTubers, and also if you look closely at the instructions, it clearly shows that this goes on top, but the wing is upside down, so hence it does go on top if the wing is upside down. So anyway, I put it in and then I pulled it back out. In the meantime, I've also dimpled all of these, transfer drilled them onto the spar, countersunk all these with the micro stop, and today is kind of a special evening because I have one of the guys from the local EAA chapter coming by to inspect the work. I'm going to ask him if he's okay with me doing a video on it, and we'll see how it goes. This is a first time build for me, obviously, and just want to make sure that I didn't have anything majorly wrong, or if so, that we can fix it before I close everything up on here. This is the left wing. That's on a stand, still fully exposed. I like doing things very symmetrical, so pretty much every good and bad thing I do on the left wing, I do on the right wing, and vice versa. So I think last time we left off, I said this cutout was a little bit tight, so I filed that up there, and it fits without touching the tie-down hook now. Anyway, I'll keep you posted on the inspection.